On the evening of March 12, 2000, Paige, Piper, and Hoadley met with Pogue at his family home in Spearfish. The four of them were acquainted and met to play video games together. Pogue's mother and sister were in Florida on vacation at the time, meaning that the house was empty. Later on, the four of them left the house and drove in Pogue's Chevrolet Blazer to the house where Paige, Piper, and Hoadley were staying. Once inside, Paige produced a .22 caliber pistol, which he had stolen from Pogue's home, and ordered Pogue to get on the floor. The three men planned to rob Pogue's family home and did not want a witness to the crime. As Pogue lay on the floor, he was kicked repeatedly by Piper until he was unconscious. He was then tied up with a cord and placed in a chair. Piper put a tire iron across Pogue's feet to prevent him from moving. When Pogue regained consciousness, he pleaded with his attackers to let him go, but they refused. Instead, he was forced to drink beer containing crushed pills and hydrochloric acid. His ATM card was then taken from him by Paige. The perpetrators then discussed their plan to murder Pogue while they stood in front of him. Pogue was forced into his own vehicle and was driven approximately 7 miles to Higgins Gulch, a remote wooded area in the Black Hills. He was ordered out of the vehicle and pushed into thick snow. He was stripped naked, apart from his undershirt, shoes, and socks. Pogue was then escorted downhill toward a small icy creek. During the walk, he was beaten repeatedly until he was forced to lie down in the creek, where he was attacked again. As Pogue lay in the creek, he was stabbed in the neck by Paige with a knife. The three men then decided it was time to kill him. Pogue requested to be let into his vehicle so he could warm himself up. He said he preferred to bleed to death in the warmth, rather than freezing to death in the cold. Piper agreed to the request if he washed blood off his body first. As Pogue washed himself, Piper changed his mind, and Pogue was violently dragged back into the creek by the three men as they attempted to drown him. Pogue was then finally killed by having rocks thrown at his head. Paige later stated that he and Hoadley ended Pogue's life by dropping several large rocks on his head. Piper's brief contends that he did not take part in the drowning attempt or stabbings. Piper argues that he had returned to Pogue's vehicle as he was being killed. According to Piper, Hoadley was the one who threw the final rock that killed Pogue, but at that point in time, Piper was not there to personally witness the murder. However, Piper allegedly admitted standing on Pogue's neck to assist Hoadley in drowning him and then reportedly stabbed Pogue twice. Both Paige and Hoadley admitted that they both dropped heavy rocks on Pogue's head, actions which they believe are what finally killed him. Hours after the beatings first began, Pogue was left for dead in the creek in the early hours of March 13th. One of my most creepy personal experiences, my brother and I were going to attend a basketball game in Seattle, so we rented an Airbnb to spend the night in afterwards. This was back when Airbnb was actually somewhat reasonable, so we rented a small and very affordable older house in the Ballard area for the night. We arrived in the afternoon before the game to drop our stuff and have a couple beers, and as we walked around the place we noticed that it seemed very thrown together and neglected. The furniture was all out of place, everything was pretty dated and in disrepair, and there was a hole torn open in the wall under the porch that looked like someone had been crawling under there and sleeping. Not a huge deal though, it was cheap, so we went out to eat and then to the game. When we got back it was dark outside, and walking into the kitchen it suddenly looked like years had passed. Things were covered in a layer of dust that was not there before. A pendant light that hung over the dining table in the little nook in back was covered in a heavy layer of dust and had the words, "Help me," drawn into the top of it with someone's finger. It was not like that before, and we had stood right there looking at the table earlier, as the refrigerator was right next to it. We started getting creeped out, so when we heard footsteps and other noises after that, we thought maybe we were just spooked. I went and fell asleep in my room, but my brother came in and woke me up soon afterwards. He seemed really shaken. He asked me if I had gotten up and if I had gotten into the shower because he heard someone slam the shower curtain open and then shut and saw shadows and heard footsteps of someone running into and out of the hall several times. I got up and we started to explore a little more, and that's when we first opened the door to the basement. As soon as we opened it, the creepy factor got way more intense. It seemed like it was humming with sinister energy. We went down to check it out, and it had that unmistakable lingering smell of rotten meat and bleach, like when someone's freezer goes out while they're on vacation and all the meat rots and the smell sticks around for years no matter what they do. There was a door out back and up a few steps to a very hidden covered carport off the alley, and right inside that door was another door to a little empty square concrete room, like an old canning cellar. It had a deadbolt on the outside of the door and no handle at all on the inside. The feeling I got from that place lingered in me for weeks.